Blaine Bishop. It's a blessing to have you on Sports Talk 1996 on YouTube with me, Zach Barnett. And let's get it rolling with how did you get involved with football as a kid that rolled on to more Pro Bowls than Derrick Henry has right now? Gotcha.
Yeah, way to make me feel like I was an elite phenomenal specimen, let alone and future Hall of Famer. But that I appreciate that, Zach, man. But I started playing football when I was a youngster. Unlike I've done with my son, who's just an okay football player, but he didn't play till he was in middle school. But I started when I was 6 years old. So it was a passion of mine for many, many years. And then I was a running back mostly my entire career, even through middle school and high school. And I played both ways in high school, but I started running back. I was a running back. So I followed all running backs, not necessarily defensive backs. There was a couple, I kind of looked up to, where it was Ronnie Lott or some of those guys. Eventually, I played cornerback, went to Cathedral High School there in Indianapolis, Indiana. We have, a handful of guys still in the National Football League, McLaren being one of them, receiver with the Commanders. And so I just kind of saw my passion through that. I played other sports. I was a really big time swimmer. So I was a breaststroke, freestyle, and a 3-meter diving champion, let alone a chess champion. So I did a vast array of national. I played basketball and ran track. So I did some, I definitely did well in those things. So, it just kind of all came together for me at the right time, at the right place. And made everything in high school, kind of give me a history lesson real quick. All city, all metro, all state at defensive back, though, even though I was a running back, but my passion was that running back. And then I wasn't highly recruited. So I really, and I was a hard worker. I was an exceptional student. I was 3.5 honor student and all those things at a private, Catholic high school, Cathedral High School there in Indianapolis, Indiana. And so I was really stunned about that. So me and a couple other guys, we decided that, hey, man, let's go together and put this school that no longer exists now on the map at a Division II program at St. Joseph's College in Rensselaer, Indiana, which would only been maybe an hour and a half or so from home. And so I went there just thinking, okay, hey, they said I was in Division I. I had some walk-on offers at Division I, like Mid-American Conference or stuff like that. But I definitely couldn't, I was a single parent home, so I couldn't afford to do that. So went to Division II and literally my third or fourth game, if I can recall, at St. Joseph's College, which no longer exists. I started at safety / nickel guy, pretty much. And there was a game that I started at running back too, because we had a whole bunch of injuries at running back. And I knew going into the game, there's a possibility because I became the backup on that side of the ball as well. So good for me, not knowing a lot of things who were there. I scored 4 different ways: running back, defensive back, return kick, touchdown, all those things. So after the game, unbeknown to me, it was some NFL scouts there to watch this other player on the other team we were playing. I can't even remember the team we were playing. I don't remember. It's some running back. And they said I had a shot at the National Football League. It was the Jets and the Giants. I'll never forget this conversation. And I kind of chuckled. And they said, oh, yeah. I said, you talking about me? And they was like, yeah, you're the only bow-legged guy out there. So I said, wow, that's kind of interesting. They said, we think you got a shot. And, everything is about timing. I was at the right place, right time, and had a good game. And so I went, literally 4 months later from high school, not being recruited by a Division I program, to being an NFL prospect. And so I really took it, to heart, and then put it in my back pocket and just kept playing the rest of the season. And didn't have a lot of conversations with people about it, really, besides my family and people who were close to me. And then next thing you know, the season's over and I make Division II All-American. So once that happened, I went back to my coach, who was the president of the school, and asked him was I was a Division I football player. That's all I wanted to do was play Division I football. And actually growing up, I was Cathedral Fighting Irish, wanted to go to Notre Dame, so that was never going to be on the table. So wasn't good enough. So he told me you can go to Indiana State, Ball State, or IU. You'll play pretty much all of them right away, except for IU. Maybe you might have to sit, a year. And then that time the rules were different. You did have to sit out regardless if you go Division II, Division I. And so I chose Ball State because Indiana State's program was just okay. I mean, nobody knows about Indiana State's football program, right? Know about Larry Bird going there for basketball.
Yes,
Ball
sir.
State kind of in the middle, and I felt like that's the opportunity, that's the place to be. So then and my coach proceeded to call the recruiting coordinator there and called him and said, perfect, yeah, we'd love to have him. And so I had to walk on there. So my first semester there, so they got to evaluate me, even though I was ineligible to play based off the rules. I did scout team, didn't ever dress for a game because I couldn't dress. And I played every position on the man, from kick returner, punt returner, cornerback, safety, running back, option quarterback. So I became that scout team guy who was just dominating. And soon as season's over and springtime comes around, they said, we're going to give you a full ride. Do you want to compete to start a corner, or do you want to be the third or fourth string running back? We had some really good running backs there at Ball State. A couple of them playing in the National Football League, Bernie Pomeroy leading the way, and then Corey Kroon getting drafted in the 4th round. So I said, well, I love running back. That's my heart and passion, but I want to compete to play. I want to play. So my first question when I got down there, that was what I asked them. And I said, who's being second string? Because the two guys who started cornerback there started that year. They got recruited out of high school the same year I did. They were from Louisville, and they both were starting. So we were the same year, same class. And I said, who's getting benched? And at that time, it was Coach Mentor. He said, oh, don't worry about that. You'll be fine. And so, they worked it out. And then next thing you know, I was starting there. And then, we played 3, DBs anyway. So everybody was really playing. And kind of the rest is history there in the MAC conference, making all MAC and everything else. And then proceeded by going to the Combine, the Senior Bowl, the Blue-Gray, getting invited. A lot of it was shocking a little bit to the system, there at Ball State. And knew I was doing well, but not how well. And then coaches would tell me, like, after the fact that 15 scouts was here to watch you play. And I'm like, well, why didn't y'all tell me? I said, oh, you wouldn't have played any different. It didn't matter. Because I was kind of that blue-collar guy who was under the radar for whatever reason. And, because I could jump, I could do a lot of different things. I wasn't just, some 5'9" guy that was just unskilled, and put time into my work and my body and just being the best player that I could be, not, trying to be somebody else. So that's kind of the story in a quick nutshell.
Definitely, man.
Throughout the time, there was times I even doubted myself to think I can make it, and not to the league, but just play Division I football. And once I realized I could, then it reaffirmed what I thought I was. And then my confidence level just went to another stratosphere, I would say, because it affirmed everything that I believed in. And I put in work, and I was a captain in high school. I was a captain in middle school, captain in grade school, captain in college, and captain in the pros. So man, that was something that always went with me, because there were different programs I was involved in. Center for Leadership Development program was one of them, going to Cobra Miller Academy in summers, then as well as being a part of the Boys and Girls Club, and even being affiliated with a big brother. I was a little brother. So, and I still participate in those programs still today.
Definitely.